Then the second question around ashramas for the four varnas. Again, the statement made was chatvara ashrama brahmanasya prayo rajanyasya dyo vaishyasya. So that mentions that four ashramas, brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa for brahmanas, the three for kshatriyas, the first three, and then two for vaishyas. And there was no mention for the shudras. So the question is, do shudras need to follow any ashrama dharma, duties as per their ashrama? If it is, which ashrama is applicable to shudras? So the answer to this is yes, the ashrama dharma for shudras also applies, and the ashrama that applies to shudras is grahastha ashrama. For example, Gautama Smriti says that live with his wife only. So shudras live with his wife only. That means the shudra is meant that he shall live with his wife only and never with another order. That means never becomes a brahmacharya, vanaprastha, or sannyasa. He is only eligible for the grahastha ashrama. And also, same thing is confirmed in the Vamana Purana as well, where it clearly says that four stages have been spoken of for the Brahmanas. Three only for, that is, the Grahastha, Brahmacharya, and Vanaprastha. Sorry, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha in that order for Kshatriyas, and two for Vaishyas. Those two are Grahastha and Vanaprastha, and one for Shudras. Grahastha is the one for Shudras, and that's the question mentioned in the Vamana Purana. So the answer to the question whether Shudras have any ashrama dharma to follow, yes, the Grahastha ashrama applies to them. It's the only one ashrama for the Shudras. So Brahmanas 4, Kshatriya 3, Vaishya 2, and Shudras have one ashrama, and that ashrama is Grahastha ashrama. So that's the second question. And related to this, there is a question. The question is the one that's going to upset most people. Okay, the first two probably be okay. Okay, sannyasa and the other ashrama dharma is mentioned, probably be okay. But this third question is probably the one that's going to most upset everybody. The question is why there is discrimination in our dharma when all are humans and equals in God's eyes. Why is that? Why there is little or no restrictions for the Brahmanas, but there is no so much other for the other varnas, especially Shudras and things. They can't do this, they can't do that, those kind of things. When we are all part of the same Paramatma, why these different rules, restrictions and things like that? And also related to this, there is a sub question asking, is this varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, is it by birth or is it by profession? By one what does? So again, as much as one may not like the answer to this question, it is important that we know the answer, because our dharma depends on the varnashramas, the duties we perform, and duties depend on the varnashrama, who you are as a varna and which ashrama, what stage of life you are in. Okay, so if you are children, you have different roles and duties. If you are a married person, you have a different role. If you are old age, if you are a sannyasi, you have different roles. So what duties you need to perform, right? So it changes, and who you are, where you are born, and what varna you belong, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So our dharma, the karmas, this entire karma yoga we are looking is saying that perform your karma, perform your duty. So first thing is, what is duty, right? What karma I need to perform? Is it that I go and everybody goes and does Gayatri Mantra Japa? Is that what is the dharma for everybody? No, it is not, because we are all different. Okay, and so that different is what said in the Shastra, saying that each one has a different duty to perform. So to answer this question, why there is difference in our dharma, or are we all same? To answer that first part, are we all equal? The straight answer is there is two answers to this. Okay, one is yes, we all equal? Yes, or the second answer is no, we are not all equal. So if you look at yes, why we are all equal? Yes, so that yes comes in the eyes of a jnani, the one who has realized, who has that attained that Atma Jnana, who has the complete knowledge of the Paramatma, reached that stage. Such a person, he sees everything everywhere as Paramatma. Same thing he sees in himself, he sees in everybody else as well. So that's yes. So equal everything. So this is what Bhagavad Gita also says. We come to this shloka a little bit later. So where Bhagavan says that Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastani Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshina. So the meaning is the truly learned, the Pandita, the truly learned person, the one who has that jnana, attained that knowledge, in his eyes, with the eyes of the divine knowledge, he sees with equal vision a Brahmin. He sees a Brahmana equal to a cow. He sees the Brahmana equal to a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. That's what the shloka says, Bhagavad Gita shloka. So the jnani sees everything. He sees everywhere. He says, sarvoham, sarvoham, sarvoham. He sees everything is me. Everything, I am everything. Right? So he says that's the state he is in. And there is no difference for him. And this is what we see in Shankaracharya's life story as well. When he goes to Kashi, he does pranama namaskara to a Chandala because he sees Shiva him in that Chandala, right? So that's what we see. So this is in the Jnani's eyes, everybody is equal. Okay. Today we hear that today we hear everybody saying we are all equal, but those people who are saying they are not seeing that. Okay. If the person who sees everybody as equal, then that such a person saying we are all equal is right. There is no argument about that. But the person who has not attained that viveka, that discrimination ability, that knowledge, if such a person like me and you and everybody, majority, us say that we are all equal, that is not right. That is the second answer to this question. Are we all equal? Where in the case of the ajna, the unrealized person who is covered by this avidya, okay, for him, everybody is different. Everything is different. Learned Brahmana is different, an elephant to a dog eater. Okay, if we go by that Gita shloka. Today, we say that we are all equal in only in words, but we don't actually say it in the same realization as a jnani says, that Pandita who has attained that knowledge says. We do not say that when we say we are all equal. Okay, we say we are all equal, we are all humans. Okay, but when we say equal in our Shastras, that Samadarshina, in that shloka, what it means is not just in humans, a dog or dog eater or an elephant or a cow or every creature, everything we see Paramatma in that. That's the equality. What our Shastra says one should attain. So we may show little compassion towards some, okay, but that's not same as seeing Paramatma in everything. Paramatma, seeing Paramatma and you, me, and everywhere and everything. So ultimate goal of our dharma is moksha, and that is attained through removal of this avidya and attainment of that Atma Jnana. And that is achieved through many births. We looked at this again, many births and hundreds and thousands of them. Each birth is a result of the karmas of the previous birth, right? Moksha is nothing but ending this cycle of birth and death, and that cycle is known as samsara. That's what we've been looking in this Gita Shastra, right? So ending of that cycle of birth and death. Now, where one is born, this jiva, where this jiva takes enters the sharira form, where it is born, where one gets life, how one gets, all this is predetermined. That means based on the prarabdha karma. That's what we call prarabdha karma, right? So whatever that karma we have achieved, attained, performed in the previous lives, that's what determines whether one is born as a worm or a cow or a dog or a human being or a inhuman being or in the cow, whether that's born in the every animal or a human being or a creature, there are different classes, right? So dog, we might be saying that a dog that's born go to poorer countries, dogs live on the streets, but in a richer countries, dogs sleep on the bed of the owner, right? So dogs also have different levels where they get born and what luxury they enjoy in their life, right? So some dogs, they run over by car and one leg broken, they'll walk in the three legs, right? So some, they have good life. So like this, so even human beings, okay, the house, the parents, the wealth, happiness, health, sorrows, whatever that comes, it's all different. Why it is different? It all depends on the prarabdha karma. The two children in the same household, they are not same. We say we are all equal, they are not same. When it is like that, how can there be equality? We can say that everybody is same. When we have see in that angle, when we have not realized, again, this is talking about in the angle of an unrealized person. Okay, so this part of the answer is from an angle of view of an unrealized person, the one who has not attained that atma jnana. Okay, so not a realized person. So when all the creatures are that Paramatma, why some are born as animals, why some are born as humans, why some in rich families, some in poor families, some with good health, some with bad health, some with having everything going well for them in life, some having a lot of trouble throughout their life, even if they are good and all this kind of thing. Why is that? Because of prarabdha karma. Hence, if one is born among as humans, as a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or Vaishya, Shudra, whatever it is due to the prarabdha karma, which we cannot change. And what we can change is what we do in this life and how we attain a better outcome next time when we go through the same process of birth and cycle. And at some point, hopefully, that realization will come in our things, because we looked at again saying that whatever the good karmas we perform is neha abhikrama nashosti, right? So we looked at this karmas, good karmas we performed will never get destroyed. So it accumulates continuously. So at some point, we will have that opportunity to reach that, find that guru who can take us to that stage, to that realization stage. So we will have that. So that's what the Shastra says. So this process is continuously towards that moksha. Again, in the case of someone born as a Brahmana, it is not same for all, and for all some, right? Some may get a birth in well-learned families. So even if you say Brahmana's family, he's born as a Brahmana, right? Not all Brahmanas same. Some are born in a wretched Brahmana's family. Some are born in a very learned family where they always do all their duties as per the Shastras. So there is variations as well. So just being born in the Brahmana family doesn't make one anything different, as long as one continues to perform their duties. That's the important thing. The birth and the outcomes of our actions is not in our control. So how we are born, where we are born, and those things are not in control. The outcome of our actions is also not in our control. The actions are in our control, right? What we perform, what we do is in our control. That's why whether one is born as a Brahmana or a Shudra, it is a stage in the journey to the moksha. And I keep saying that moksha, let's say it is a 10-step, right? Climbing up that ladder. So if Brahmana may be in step 3, while Shudra, somebody is taking birth at that jiva, is probably in step 1. So it's someone simply getting birth in a human form, maybe in the very early steps. So it varies. Okay, so or maybe ground level. So if it is like that, so these steps are just again illustration only, and I'm not saying that moksha is a 10-step process. Okay, but the message here is one has taken birth in a varna. The dharma, the duties of the varna is what one should follow. That is what we looked at in this shloka, 20th shloka, where Acharya clearly explains that Arjuna being born as a Kshatriya, he should follow his duty because it is his prarabdha. Because it is his prarabdha. He is born as a Kshatriya because it is the prarabdha. And as part of that prarabdha, he should follow. And then Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, for example, says the same thing. So those who conduct has been good here will shortly get birth, such as a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, or a Vaishya. But those whose conduct has been evil will be born in the evil births, such as a birth of a dog or as a Chandala. So that's what Chandogya Upanishad said. So your birth depends on what one has conducted himself in many, many births before, right? So the same hierarchy, again, we look at the hierarchy or Brahmana, Kshatriya, how one advances in that journey towards moksha, right? So if I call that hierarchy, class system, whatever we want to call it, right? The varna, what we call simply here is varnas. That similar thing applies in our day-to-day basis everywhere. We go to a business, a office, right? There is a CEO, there is a director, supervisor, team lead, worker, cleaner, and many, many, many levels. So tomorrow, a cleaner can't go and say, I am the CEO today because we are all humans, we are all equal. You can't say that because to run that business successfully, we have to have the structure and levels and things like that. Okay. A team member may become at some point become a team leader and become a supervisor or whatever, and then director and at some point become a CEO. If CEO is considered as the state of ultimate goal of human life, okay, comparing to that as moksha, right? At some point, we may be somewhere in the cleaner level today, washing the desk. Tomorrow, we may become a team member and then become a team lead and things like that. So when we follow simple rules, structures like that in our day-to-day process in everything we do, even at a home, right? If you take, there are 5 members have different duties assigned to them. Suddenly, a 14-year-old boy can't say that I become the dad today. You are all my children. You can't say that. You're not going to say that. So when this such of structure and levels and everything and assigned rules and duties are clearly defined, everything we do in the life, why we are challenging, why we are arguing over something that is said in our Shastras by the rishis and in the Vedas, it is clearly said for this to attainment of that supreme goal in our life, why we have taken birth, to understand that, why we are not following that, why we are challenging. Right? We spend so much time arguing without looking at the bigger picture why we are. Hence, the message is Varnas, whether Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they are not discriminating anybody. It is just the separation of the duties based on the word, birth, gender, age, and things like that, the duties, that's where they are attained. It is here to take us towards that, in that journey towards moksha. And again, being Brahmana on paper, people say that it is sounds great, but there are many things that make up a Brahmana. Not all Brahmanas are same. And learning, conduct, and everything that determines one. Being Brahmana, again, you say that there is one Brahmana who's learned one Veda, and there is Dvivedis, Trivedis, Chaturvedis, or even the one who's realized, understood the Brahman. That's even superior. Right? So there are different levels. Similarly, Brahmana not performing his duties falls faster in the next life. Okay, Brahmana not performing his duties, it says that he's going to get a worst life, worm in a excreta. Okay, he is going to be like that, get such a life, and it's there is the higher one climbs, the greater they fall, right? So the same thing. So the one has to continuously follow that dharma. Just by taking birth as a Brahmana, one does not attain Brahmajnana unless one puts that effort and goes towards continuously make that effort. And similarly, Shudra performing a Gayatri Japa, one does not become a Brahmana. Shudra does not become. Again, now the second part of this question, so I think I covered enough to say that why, whether the Varnas is the Varnashrama, whether it is equal or not. I said this is again equal in the eyes of the Jnani and in the eyes of the Ajnani. The one who has this avidya, in this, who are in this karma yoga, for India, in their eyes, this hierarchy has to apply. Then only one can attain that knowledge, purification of the mind, right? Otherwise, we say we are all equal and everybody does try to do Gayatri or whatever it is, then it's against the Shastras. It is not going to result in that purification of the mind, which we looked at.